Drogba indirdi ceza. Snyder. Snyder gol! Allah'ım gol!
Muslera! Fernando Muslera! Golün adı Muslera!
Sarıyoglu. Drogba! This is incredible!
Hello, merhaba, and welcome to episode 21 of The Lion's Den, a Galatasaray podcast, done by the community, for the community, from all around the nebula. My name is Samet, and I'm your host. I want you also to give a big applause to my fellow podcast members. From New York, America, we got Brooklyn Emre. How you doing, Emre?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. It's been a good couple of days. Galatasaray just got their first win, and we've got a glimpse into the universe from James Webb's telescope. And many people might not know, but I'm a huge space geek, and I was very happy when I first saw it, man. I'm having a great week right now.
The observable universe, that is.
The known observable universe.
Yeah, loving that stuff, man. Loving it. What about you, Yasin, from America?
Likewise, I'm pretty much the same, except although we did win our first game, I'm starting to grow a little impatient. So I can't say it's been an amazing week in terms of rumors and transfers, hijacking from some of our rivals. So I guess we'll talk about that too. But otherwise, I'm doing okay, man. No injuries, not yet at least. So doing a little better, but I'm good.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Now we can go a bit further away to Toronto, Canada, where we have our special Pokemon master, Coach John. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad to be back. I missed the last one, but we're back in action, man. I'm excited.
You got to catch them all, John. Come on.
Always. Number one priority, bro. Gotta catch them all.
And the biggest excitement I have for today from the Netherlands, Salih, with another fact of the week, of course.
Hey, yes, I'll be there again with another fact. And this time it will be about an animal, a bird specifically. So we all know the woodpecker, right? And, well, it likes to peck wood. While it's doing that, did you know that he wraps his tongue around his brain while they're pecking to protect the brain from brain damage? It's actually long enough to go into the skull area and cushion it. And therefore it can, remain sane.
That's really cool.
That's what Diagne does, right?
That's what Diagne does?
Every time he hits the ball.
Yeah.
Or it's what he should be doing, because I think his brain's a little bit damaged.
He never had one to begin with.
Love these, man. Love these.
I'm just joking.
Keep them coming.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked them live instead of all editing. So that's good to hear.
Sometimes when I'm too busy with looking at some of my notes, I don't hear what you say, but I hear it in post. So but this time I did listen. I don't know how they roll up their tongue in their brain.
I also have no idea. Apparently the tongue is like 15 centimeters or 10 or 15 centimeters long, which is massive for such a small bird.
I'm getting dirty thoughts right now. So let's move on. So yeah, to all our listeners, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. On today's podcast menu, we'll go through some of the latest events on the transfer market, the news around that, some highlights from the friendlies we played, the last two games, and we'll also treat some listeners' questions. So let's go right into it. Starting off with another confirmed transfer, Ali Yavuz Kol went to Adana Demirspor.
Cool.
Mr. Puffy Jacket, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Moving forward, we have an official announcement that 10% of Marcao's sale will go to Galatasaray, which wasn't communicated before. We have rumors about Evander from Midfield. We had Kerem and Patrick van Aanholt apparently having a small incident with each other in training. We have Fenerbahce upping our bid for Joao Pedro. And then we had also the final decision by Okan Buruk and the management to loan out Morutsan to Sivasspor, who will pay 630,000 euros, which is his yearly salary, to us. And yeah, lads, Where do you want to start? Did I miss out on any of the news? I think I did.
Cagney leaving, right?
Exactly. Where is he going?
I believe he's going to Fatih Karagümrük
With Pirlo.
to play under Pirlo. Yes.
Mhm.
We're gonna apparently it's gonna be a loan from what I understood, but basically he'll be a goner as his contract will run out this season. Unfortunately, however, due to mistakes we've made in the past, we're gonna pay half his salary because he's on tremendous wages. He earns 2.5 million a year.
Mhm.
So we're gonna pay half of it, but I guess it's better to pay half of it than pay the full amount and not utilize him at all if Okan doesn't have him in his plans. But yeah, that's that. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Doesn't matter for us, unfortunately.
My God.
Oh yeah, we also have Fatih Terim in the chat. That he wanted to join us, so he might give his opinions here and there.
I'd love to know Fatih Terim's opinion about bringing Cagney for 10 to 13 million at the time, and why he didn't play him so much during that time after spending all that money. I have a lot of questions for Terim if he has time today. Does he?
Unfortunately.
Well, okay. Not a lot of time he seems to have, so. But can you tell us a bit what you think about Cagney, though, Mr. Terim? Like, what happened there?
But what can I do sometimes?
You know what? I agree with you, Mr. Terim. I agree with you. Because, it's not your fault that your board waited till the very last day to make a transfer and then forcibly bought from Kasımpaşa the most dumb striker ever.
He's our second most expensive transfer, and what has he done? Honestly, what has he done? We've loaned him out twice. Now he's loaned out again.
I can't even think of the words to describe him. Like incompetent, imbecile. Like you can take every word from the dictionary and put it together, and it still won't be enough to describe Cagney. And we paid apparently 13 million.
On the contrary, about Cagney, I want to say, okay, we paid 13, sure. We brought him in during financial fair play. We had some extra cash that we needed to spend in order to get it back and spend it again, right? That's how it worked at that time. And we took a gamble. We said, okay, we'll just buy him, good investment, and then we'll sell him again, and we'll get that money that we can spend then. That was the idea behind it. What happened in reality, unfortunately, it didn't work out with him. He did put in, some stats for us. Not a lot. It wasn't the best. But people also forget, we did loan him out 2-3 times. West Brom, where we got 2.5 million loan fee and they paid his salary. So think of it as 5 to 6 million going down the drain instead of 13. Makes us feel better, right?
So still a fail, but just not as hard? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's how I ease it for myself.
I mean, listen, okay, it's not his problem that he... okay, it is his problem, but it's not his problem that we bought him for that much, right? So in the end, I can't blame him for the transfer fee or whatever.
No
it's
one
just
told
our
him,
own, It's our own incompetence that we indeed went for a panic buy. Even, you guys remembered, right? When you got transferred, we were like, let's have a look at some highlights. You'll see the best skills and whatever. But 50% of them were penalties and just scrappy goals. I was like, okay, we're gonna be in for a long ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a huge striker problem. We got rid of one. So far, none has come in. So I wonder how we're gonna proceed forward.
It's funny you say that, Salih, because before all of this even happened, when Terim first came, we didn't have a striker problem because our striker had broken a league record, Gomis, and they sent him away because he wanted a little bit more money. Over that, maybe you give him $1 million more, you would have had a striker for 2-3 seasons. Instead, we chose to spend I don't know how much money to replace him, and guess what happened? The man is back in our ranks now, and we still have a striker problem.
It's been 6 months and we already want him gone too. So
exactly.
I kind of want to propose, a discussion off of this, and I guess it relates to Motorton too, on what kind of due diligence does our head scout do when we get these transfers for big sums of money, right? We have Cagney, who we paid 13 million for. He had a great season at Kasımpaşa, but before that, if you just look at his brief history, he's changing clubs all the time. He didn't play for any of these big European clubs beforehand for a long period of time. And why does that matter? I guess, let's say you do have an issue with a player, right? You know, you bring him in like Fenerbahce does a year and he doesn't do so well and you want to let go of him. Not only now do you have an issue with his salary, right? Who's going to pay his salary? But other teams from these other European leagues are going to question, okay, maybe I'll pay his salary, but what has this guy proven in these other leagues that we should go out and pay 5, 6, 7 million? Maybe it might look like a discount for a guy that they just purchased 13 million for. Or maybe Morutan, right? He was maybe wanted by some of these European clubs, but you bring this kid in for how much do we pay? 5, 6 million plus some bonuses. The kid doesn't even speak English. Zero English. Chikaldao, you get it, fine. He speaks, he can get along with the coach, he can get along with most translators, but Morutan, he needs his own translator. And I'm hearing rumors that at this current camp, we don't even have a translator for Morutan. I don't know how true it is. It's Samet's favorite journalist, Mehmet Özcan, that's saying this. So maybe Samet might not even believe it, but this is what I heard. And if that's true, that's ridiculous. You know, when we're spending a lot of money, I feel like this club is not doing enough due diligence on these players.
I'll be honest,
thinking,
Yasin, to add,
Yeah.
I think the Romanian transfers, Hagi and Terim definitely had a small bit of the pie there,
Also,
is what I
Popescu.
believe in, and Popescu. I cannot believe that the 400,000 or 500,000 euro manager fees just went to the manager. They had their cut. I'm 100% positive of this.
I'm with
because
you 100%.
this is how Turkey works. It's all middlemen over there without any expertise. That's just how Turkey is. Everyone wants to be a middleman and take a slice of the pie. And I'm sure with Chikaldao and Morutan, it happened. And I think I said that before, like in the chat.
I mean, with Chikaldao, it's actually factual that Hagi did get something because Chikaldao's prior club, not the one that we bought him from, but his prior club to that was Hagi's team. And when Hagi sold Chikaldao, he put in a clause saying X percentage of his next sale, which ended up being us, goes to Hagi and his club. So he definitely 100% received money, is what I remember reading. And, you know, to add on to what you said, I'm sure there might have been some other communications and manager fees too. But, you know, I just, maybe it's a separate topic altogether. If you guys have something else to say while we're on it, please speak up. But like,
How much did Chikaldao come for? How much was this transfer? Like 7 million, no?
I think
Plus
7.
bonuses?
Yeah.
plus
Oh
a
my
percentage
God.
of his next sale too.
Oh, how much is that?
See
25?
if I can find that real
No.
quick.
Okay, Yasin can
25?
I think,
No.
I think, yeah,
I think it was like
Yasin can
10%
find
or
it.
something. I'm pulling up Cup right now if it wants to load, but
That better be profits.
6.5 million transfer fee. I actually don't see anything about future sale, but I could have sworn I read about that.
Maybe it's Morutan who had it.
Not sure.
That makes
now.
more sense.
Okay.
Because Morutan came for cheaper, right? He came for, I think, 3 mil, 3 or 3.5.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
Chikaldao does have 25 million release
Release
clause.
clause?
Not that any
Yeah,
club's going to
okay.
trigger that, but
Bro, I
You
don't know
think so?
who's paying
Oh.
this much money for Romanian players. The amount that we paid is absolutely ridiculous.
Is it percentage of profit or percentage of sale?
oh no, I don't even see that here now on
Okay.
Cup.
Yeah.
I thought I saw a rumor about that, but maybe not.
I don't think that's, it's no percentages.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
Morutan to Sivasspor. I rate Rıza Çalınbay a lot. And if he wanted Morutan, I'm sure he can utilize him better than we can. Because we've seen in the 3 friendlies now that we had, Morutan is just struggling a lot. And you can also see him beating him up himself for all the mistakes he's doing. He knows he's not going to get time if he's like this, because we have other players that are well suited, better suited to play on that position. Yunus Akgün, for example, doing amazing. You can write him on the first 11 straight up. So, yeah, goodbye, Morutan. Go to Sivasspor. You have Rıza Çalınbay, which is a good coach. Improve yourself. Show something like Yunus did at Adanaspor. And then hopefully you can come back and do great things for Galatasaray.
Samet, people were giving Fatih Terim so much slack for sending away Yunus, but look how he came back. Sometimes it pays to send players away so they can get some time and experience. So like some people act very reactionary to these things. Like think of the broader picture when like coaches do these kind of things. It's not, to just get him out of the squad. He's still young. He still has a ceiling that he can reach. And I like it when we do these loans.
I think the difference between like sending a Yunus away and Morutan is, well, we paid for Morutan. He came from another league. Although he's young, he's not like 19. He's, what is he again? I think 23, 24. So I think the idea that because we paid for him and he hasn't worked out, that I think they're more angry at that we are then going to send him away on loan. Like
This isn't the first time, though.
What you say?
This isn't the first time we've bought. Look at Bruma. We had Bruma. He got injured. He wasn't doing well. We sent him to Spain. He came back and he played much better. And then after that, we sold him to, what was it, Leipzig?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's you got to look at it both ways.
He's at Fener now.
Yeah.
And apparently they're not happy with him. And I even saw rumors about Jesus
Really?
wanting to maybe even loan him out.
That
you
is
serious?
hilarious.
You're talking about Bruma?
Yeah, the loan might be a stretch, but I did hear that they're not happy. Like I
Wait,
don't
did
see
they
any.
buy him or did they loan him?
No, they loaned him.
Pretty sure it's a loan, but I've also heard rumors
Obligation
about it being
to
like
buy.
an obligation to buy. Yeah.
100%.
That can't be true. I don't know if you guys have watched those friendly matches, but every time he gets subbed on, he totally changes like the pace that they're playing at.
Yeah, apparently
I don't see how they can't be satisfied like that. That's just crazy.
Oh, you like him? You're saying?
I like him. Every time he gets subbed in, like he changes the pace of the match. Like Fener start pushing so much more. Like their attack is so much faster. He can dribble. He cuts inside. So if that is true, that is really surprising to me.
They're not fucking around this season, apparently. Okay.
High standards, I guess. I don't know.
Why are they going for every single player that ever played for us? That makes no sense.
I guess they really like the players we bring in, huh?
They're after winners, bro. They need
We're
winners.
their scouts, apparently. That's how it's working.
Yep. I just want to ask you a quick question on the Morutan thing. So Samet mentions Sivasspor, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's also rumors about him getting some interest loan-wise from outside of the Turkish league. Would you rather see Morutan go to a club like Sivas within the league? Or would you rather see him go to a top 5, top 6 league club, mid-table, maybe lower half, and play outside?
For me, if we can get even a smallest percentage of a loan fee, not just paying a salary, if that's outside, yeah, he can go outside. I don't mind.
If it's not, let's say they're both not loan fee.
I don't care. Just go somewhere where you get to play. Yeah.
What I want for Morutan is I want him to go to a club that is going to actually use him in his natural position. And if he goes to a club and he's going to be playing on the wing, he's not going to play well. I don't think that's his position. And I never thought, I've mentioned this a dozen times now on the podcast. If he goes anywhere where they plan on using him on the wing, he's going to fail. If there's a team that wants to add, some improvements to the midfield, not like we're trying to do that or anything, but if there's a team that is trying to do that and he gets the chance, then I think he'll be a lot better and a lot more useful. And I think he'll improve as a player that way. But if he keeps playing on the wing, I think he's going to start having confidence problems more than he already has. And I think it's going to be difficult for him,
I think we can move on to the next segment then, yeah?
Yeah, maybe wanting to bring up Kerem Aktürkoğlu, who got smacked by our dear Marcao, got into another feud with Patrick van Aanholt. Well, I put it this way because that's how it was portrayed on Twitter and lots of news reports. There's an obvious action towards Galatasaray in the media. I don't know who the reporters are that are unleashing these, but basically reports came out with pictures during training where you see Patrick van Aanholt very pissed off and throwing his hands, and Kerem standing across from him is basically deflecting, right? That doesn't look good. Immediately when I saw this, we tweeted it out and I also put in my opinion. I said these types of things can happen during a training. Anyone that played football knows how it goes. It's nothing to blow up. And the unfortunate part is just that there are pictures and as a consequence, they have to now explain to the public, right? And not long after, maybe an hour after all these reports came, Patrick van Aanholt posted a picture saying, "¿Qué pasa? What's up, dudes?" And then he came out on Instagram saying, "It was just a sudden angry reaction given during the game. It wasn't a big deal. It didn't last. We stopped immediately. I do not understand why it's being blown up this much." Now, with that, also Kerem came out and said, "Dudes, the argument I had with Patrick was taken out of context, reported as a fight involving physical violence, and such things occur in football. We push limits to achieve better. There's love and respect between us. So this shouldn't be forgotten what the media is doing." So Kerem did come up a bit more harsher towards the Turkish media. I wanted to get your ideas on that. I explained mine already.
I want to just, you know how PVA is saying, I don't know why it's getting blown out of proportion. Well, I don't know if PVA knows, but Harry Kewell has a very famous saying. In Turkey, the game is played against Galatasaray. That's why.
Yeah.
Every single media outlet is always trying to stir up some sort of chaos against us to like break us up, to cause harm. You see when other teams have like these kind of internal issues, you don't see it blow up as hard as, you know, ours do.
That's what you get if you're the biggest, right? So
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Kerem, like, because of the Marcao incident now, like, anytime something like this happens involving Kerem, then automatically it's going to be escalated to the worst possible thing, right? I mean, even when I saw it, I you know, even though it was a perfectly normal thing, my worry was that Kerem said something again, and you know, it was a similar incident to the Marcao incident, but I don't know if that's ever going to be forgotten, or if any time this happens, it's going to be blown up like this. It probably will, but luckily this time it was just pretty normal.
Yeah, they diffused the situation quick. I think they had that whole Marcao incident in the back of their heads, so they're like, "Yo, let's just handle this quickly and not have any issues going forward."
Yeah, and I'm sure they're just like licking their lips at the chance to, you know, make Kerem seem like this problematic guy, like he's a big problem in this, you know, that to play that whole angle. I'm sure they're just dying to
so he'll be harder to sell and stuff like that, harder to market. Yeah, all games.
He already didn't get any offers from anyone. So that's a bit odd as well. On top of that, to look at the other side of the story, it is Kerem again that's having a feud with someone else on the team. And if I have to play devil's advocate, I've played in amateur clubs, right? And some teams I've played in, we never had these stuff. And we were very respectful with each other. So it kind of also gives a little bit of some insight in how the team is. Sure, you're pushing yourself hard, but respect is something very important within our club. And that these things happen, I don't think they're acceptable, in my opinion.
What exactly happened? Like, why did the fight start in the first place? What happened?
I'm sure it's just maybe a hard tackle, or, you know, a small argument, or like this is normal. Like when you have a group of really competitive guys that, you know, all they want to do is win, that's all that's in their head, then these things happen. You know, you lose the ball and you get frustrated and make a hard tackle, and then that guy says something to you and you exchange words, right? I'm almost positive it was something like this, right?
Before I want to ask Yasin, but Kerem, what do you think about this?
Very tough teams, very good teams, very big working.
Yeah, so you're saying it can happen?
Something happened, unfortunately.
Okay.
oh my god.
Yeah, I see.
Well said, Tatum. Well said, brother.
Yeah, well, what do you think about all the media and stuff? It's gonna cause a lot of problems, Mr. Terim.
Doesn't matter for us.
Okay.
Dumb.
Well, Yasin, yeah, what do you think?
He's laser focused, Teddy.
What I think doesn't matter. Tidim Hoja just spoke, man.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
That's it. You can't speak on top of
Yeah.
him.
No,
How can you follow that up, bro?
This is not Turkey. This is equal grounds. Everyone gets to say their say. We're not doing the Turkish style here.
Oh, you mean we don't have to kiss Tedim's ass?
If that's the case, then
I won't get
Just
kicked
kidding.
off the podcast?
Of course. Yasin, have you ever fought with someone because you were super hyped up in a game?
I never fight anybody, but I've definitely exchanged some words with people who,
What
coming to
words?
challenge is really tough with me. I don't have to say it on the podcast, but you can imagine, right?
Oh,
So I played against South American players are the toughest,
Yes.
most aggressive
Yes.
players I've ever played against. And I played against every type of player you can think of. They come into every single challenge hard. They can be your brother. They can kiss your ass outside the field. But on the field, they will go 150% every single time. They won't care if it's a friendly, if it's a World Cup final, it doesn't matter. And I've had a lot of incidents with these type of players where they come into challenges unnecessarily difficult. And how does it end? You push around, you don't take a swing, you curse at each other, other guys get involved. And that's it. You move on. And then you get off the field, high five, good game. What the hell was happening before? You joke around, that's it. You move on. So just like John said it, this happens. These reporters, it was an open training. So like everybody's recording, right? You got Rodop on one side, you got Ajans on the other, you got this guy on the other. So they were recording. They saw something happening. And if you looked at all the videos that was shared publicly on Twitter, none of them start from the get-go of the incident. They all it's like a cut, right? From like when people are actually holding, I guess Van Aanholt and Kerem apart from each other. And that's it. Like you didn't see anything happen. You saw a couple pictures with their arms up, but that's nothing. It could be a push, it could be a swing, you don't know. But I will say, we gave them reason to do this stuff too because of the whole Marcao and Kerem incident. We didn't help our situation. Marcao didn't help the situation. Kerem didn't help the situation from before either. And this is the reality of it. And we moved on. Like you said, they shared the pictures, hugging. They joked around about it. And then you didn't see anything about it after that again. So you move on. You move on.
It's the football. That's the football. Something happens.
Oh yeah.
I know, Hocam.
Yeah, it's true, Hocam.
The thing that did help though is after the fight, like how long did it take for them to post pictures about it? Like 1, maybe 2 hours at most. I felt like the incident was over really, really quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of overblown. We just move on.
Yeah.
First incident, after the first incident, Kerem actually, became a Adam and started playing better.
Yeah,
But
that's
So
true.
maybe this time he'll play even twice as good.
Well, we saw it in the friendly. I don't know. It maybe worked a bit backwards.
Let's see.
So, closing that one off, in terms of transfer activities, what are the most exciting transfers for you? Let's start with John, maybe.
So what I was hoping for originally was to have Sergio Oliveira, William Carvalho, and João Pedro. I was hoping for that midfield because I think I was saying on one of the other episodes how much I hated the imbalance of players that we had in Thailand, Berkan, and all those guys. So in my eyes, I loved that balance of those three players, but that doesn't look like it's happening. Haven't heard anything about William Carvalho in like 2 weeks. João Pedro may be going to Fenerbahce. I don't even know what's happening with that. That's what I was looking forward to. But now we're linked with Evander. So he seems to be a pretty attacking player, which I think we could really use in the midfield. So I'm excited about that. And another thing I'm hoping for is I think we need another striker. Jagne is gone now. Gomes is about 66 years old. And Mustafa, I don't know what to say about him anymore. I think if there's a offer that comes in, I think we should probably let him go. So anyways, that's what I was looking forward to. Now we're linked, instead of João Pedro, we're linked with Evander. So we'll see what happens. I know I read today his club wanted 10 million. Apparently we offered 5 plus installments to make up the rest. So we'll see what happens with that. But I don't know.
For me, I want to see the midfield. I want to see midfield players coming in. And currently, what's resurfaced again is Diawara from Roma. Apparently, Idrisse Gueye from PSG went to the camp in Japan with PSG. So, I don't know what's happening, honestly, but I just want to see midfielders. It doesn't matter. Just get some midfielders because that's the place where we need it the most. And as for Momo, if someone buys him for 8 million, oh, please do.
Yeah, I think we've given Momo enough time to prove himself. He started out really promising, but as we all know, after that red card incident against, I think Hikmet Karaman's Ankaragücü, he fell off so hard. He just hasn't found a place yet. I mean, obviously, he wasn't started all of the time, but he's just been very just poor in general. And during these friendlies, I was hoping that under Okan Buruk, he would maybe reimagine himself. But even then, we see Gomis play quite often as well. And when Mustafa is on, he's so static. Like it's hard to believe that Gomis is more active than Momo up front in goal. And when he does have a chance, he misses. So I don't know what to think of it anymore.
Mustafa has positioning issues. He's like always all over the place, and he's never like in the box. Well, he is, but like not always. He misses a ton of opportunities because he's like either coming too deep or he's too wide. He's just, I don't know. He doesn't have that like striker mentality these days. Like Gomis is like always in the box. He gives and goes. He goes into the box. He never like overextends into the midfield. But like, I don't know. Like you said, thanks to FFF for screwing, Momo's confidence up. Because that red card was like, was blasphemy.
Like in his first
Screwed him
few
up
games,
completely.
like when we played Fener, for example.
He was golden, man. He was amazing.
Scored.
Like he scored. He like, dude, he made something out of nothing.
But now he seems to be fallen, and there are rumors that, again, some League One teams want him. Just like Samet mentioned before, around 8 million. If they want to do that, I'm fine with it. Just let him go.
He's not a bad player. I think he just needs a new environment because I think he's just been through a lot, and he just lost his confidence. He just needs to be somewhere new and fresh to get a new start. I think that's either we loan him or we sell him.
The problem then is, again, well, who do we then have left up front? We've let Cagne go. If we then also let Mustafa go, we only have Gomis, which, well, none of us really want as a starter to begin with. And based on our transfer strategy so far, we've been basically publicly announcing who we're interested in, but no action has been taken so far. Pretty much, we've only had 3 transfers. And
we need a
that's
striker. We really, really need a striker. Because if we go into the season with Mustafa and Gomis, I think we're going to be in a lot of trouble. And we're going to be in the same boat that we've been in for I don't know how long now, where we're getting the chances, but we're not putting the ball in the net. And I don't trust either of them to do that.
No striker challenge.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Part 2 incoming. Bro, I can't. And like you guys talking about the rumors and whatnot, man. I stopped paying attention to all of that because I know Galatasaray for years. I've been following, and every single time the transfers always come last couple of days. Yep. So I'm done. I'm not going on YouTube looking at skills and video. I'm not going to Transfer Mark looking up stats because it just ends up not happening.
Yeah, we're kind of used to it, right?
Yeah.
But like not only that, but like a question to you guys: the rumors that we've had so far, do any of them like truly excite you? Because for me, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
It doesn't.
We can't, Salih. We can't be excited. The Turkish economy does not allow anymore for clubs to sign players on profiles like Snyder or Drogba. Like you cannot pay 4.5 million euros for Snyder in this Turkish economy. That's times 20 almost now.
Bro, Schneider was a steal, man. Compared to what we got from him, we paid 4.5 for what, Feghouli?
Yeah, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
Jesus Christ.
And maybe for listeners that don't know, and they do want to still go to Feghouli for some reason, he opened up his own health office, so you can get your teeth done, get some big ass, big boobs. They all do it over there.
Does he? Where did he open it, actually? I didn't know this.
Istanbul.
The hair transplants too?
I think so. Yeah,
well,
also
he needs
hair transplant. But yeah.
Yeah, just to conclude, transfers so far, have been pretty depressing. That's all I can say.
I mean, I guess I'll jump off of that idea. I actually was going to say this to John before. So he mentioned how Pedro, Sergio, and William as like the ultimate trio in his mind. So I guess instead of talking about those players specifically, I'll revert this back to John and then you guys. What are you looking for? You know, Samet generally said, we need midfielders, and I agree with that. But what kind of profile midfielders are you guys looking for? Are you looking for these big tanks that's just going to be a wall in the midfield? Are you looking for a player that's dynamic in both attack and defense? Are you looking for faster midfielders, more skilled midfielders? Because we've been linked with a lot of different types, but every time a different type is linked, I just like convince myself that that's what I want because I'm so desperate for a midfielder. But I'm just curious to see what you guys think on what type you think is best for this club.
Dude, honestly, the most important position for me right now is number 10 and 6. And for 6, for years, I've always wanted the Brazilian type that we had with Melo or Fernando. I would honestly love to have Fernando back from Sevilla right now, place him in that role, and he'll do it. No nonsense. You know, he's always doing his job. He needs to be where he needs to be at all times, and he passes to like forwards with no nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, he's always passing straight. He doesn't turn back and pass to the goalie every single time he gets the ball. He doesn't lose the ball in unnecessary spots like Thailand. That's the type of player that I want in the number 6.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you exactly what, like, just for me, what I think an ideal midfield trio is and why I wanted those 3 players. So first of all, I want one player that is anchored right in front of the back line that's going to win us the ball and distribute the ball. I don't care about dribbling out from the back. I don't care about anything. I want you to win the ball, distribute the ball.
That was Fernando.
Yep. And when we're playing out of the back, I want you to show yourself in those empty pockets and receive the ball playing out of the back. And I want you to have some confidence. Unlike when Thailand played there, everyone is always on the edge of their seat. You know, some confidence, calm with the ball to play out of the back that we can trust. And we know they're not going to lose us possession in the most dangerous area of the field. That's one player. And I think William Carvalho could do that. I think he'll win us the ball, big, strong midfielder, and good technical ability to win the ball, distribute it, job done, right? I want a player that we already have in Sergio Oliveira, who I think will be good in keeping possession and linking the back line with our forwards and our attackers, and someone we can play through, someone that can carry the ball a little bit, can switch the ball, and is not going to make foolish mistakes and, you know, a 2 IQ player like Balhanda who's going to lose it for no reason, right? And then I need another player who's good at attacking, who's good at driving at a back line, you know, a little bit of creativity, unlocking a back line, can maybe score. It'd be nice if they had some set piece abilities as well. We don't really have anyone that can score from a free kick. So that balance of players, in my eyes, is Sergio Oliveira, William Carvalho, and João Pedro, who all speak Portuguese. And that is, in my mind, brilliant. But it's not going to happen now, so.
You convinced me.
That's it. There you go. Sign the check then, man.
To add on, John, I fully agree. I think the ball stealing and the distribution part's very important. Thailand did that with us for 1 season. What I'm looking at is, well, we've seen bits of Sergio Oliveira today, and you can see he's basically, to me, he seems like an upgrade to Chikildao. When Chikildao first came, he was fine, but Sergio seems to be more on the ball, more in control. Like, you feel like he actually controls and possesses a certain amount of the midfield. And link him with someone that can steal the ball and distribute the ball behind him or next to him, you have already a good pair. And then we're missing that creative player that John said, João Pedro, could link up and form a Portuguese trio, basically. So when they're coming, yeah, that's the question, right? Because
if they're coming,
João Pedro, we had an offer, we were very close, and then apparently Fenerbahce paid off some Italian media outlets to say that they're also in the race, or the agents of João Pedro did that to increase his price. Don't know what's happening there, but I see it not making any sense for Fenerbahce to get him. So just weird stuff are happening.
That was the original rumor.
We
at
better
least.
not pay
Yeah.
7.5 million for a guy with 1 year left on his contract.
What do you want to see, Salih?
I mean, what hasn't been said before already? I'll just keep it simple. From what I've seen in these 2 friendlies, or with Okan Buruk in general, is that he likes to play in a more direct way, aka go long, have more of these through balls from deeper positions. So we already have a Sergio Oliveira who seems to be not really a progressive player. He's more of a, how should I say it, he just intercepts, tries to just win the ball and then move it forward. But having a player who would be similar to him, I guess Pirlo in his prime, I know it's a weird example, but someone like him from deep to make these long balls forward and then have our fullbacks, which are, for example, Van Aanholt's a pretty aggressive player, having more of these deep runs. I think that's what we are aiming to do from what I see. So getting a midfielder like that and a striker who has some pace to him, so not Gomes, I think that's probably what he wants. That's at least what I understood. Look, I'm no John, I'm no football coach. I'm just a regular guy, but that's what I see.
We're not professionals. We're just doing this for fun. Just a bunch of friends talking about football.
No, but isn't that what you guys saw as well in the game? I know we now switch topics, but we seem to, like Guardiola puts it, we don't really seem to make these triangles and try to move the ball forward by making these quick short passes. We actually, tend to go long or try to get more through balls in. That's what I saw, at least.
Well, we don't have a midfield. I think Okan Buruk is just testing out different combinations, different players, looking at the individual performance of players. And I don't see yet a team play, a team tactic being put into play. It's just looking at individual performance and chemistry between players. It's like when you play FIFA, right? You have the chemistry lines, right? Green, yellow, red. At the moment, it's all red with us, right?
There's definitely no chemistry. That's true.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you guys want to fully transition to the friendly we had today, but do you want me to do you want to dive into that, or is that okay with you guys?
That's
Sure.
fine.
All right. What Salih said, and we watched this match together today, and I think we all agree for some reason, and well, maybe the reason is just like what Samet said. We're just evaluating individual players, see who we have, what we can do with them, things like that. But in terms of how our team was playing in this friendly today, was pretty frustrating. Like, I'm not sure why we didn't really seem to have the intention of controlling the match and setting up in the opponent's half and keeping the ball, looking for opportunities to penetrate or break the back line. Instead, we were getting the ball and, I don't know, playing it long and forcing the ball, rushing for some reason. We're playing against such a weak opposition. Like, this is a team that finished 8th in the Czech league, and they had 5 subs on the bench as well. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I know that, Okan, he likes to play a bit more forward, and we're sort of on, there's sort of two different ends of the scale now with Torrent and Okan. We had Torrent, who was trying to develop our team to do what I just said, but maybe a little bit too much, a little too patient, a little too much playing backwards, but we were trying to keep the ball. And now we have Okan, where we don't look particularly interested in doing that, and we're just trying to force it and play it long and attack. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we can find a balance of those two. But if you notice, the 2 goals that we scored today, we won 2-0, by the way. The 2 goals we scored came from a little bit of organization, setting up in their half and keeping the ball, switching the ball, being patient, and the opportunities came. Yunus had some magic, scored and assisted, and it came that way, right? But I think we can all agree for most of the match, it was ridiculous, like giving the ball away for no reason and just playing these long balls into a 40-year-old. It was kind of frustrating.
So we played 3 friendlies. Against Sturm Graz was the first one. You see, every game, someone else is starting. So what I said about just testing the individual performance is what I strongly believe. And none of these games are actually something to analyze and say, okay, this is how we're doing. I don't believe that. So people need to be patient and wait until we have, or Okan has figured out the starting XY. For now, it seems that Emre Akbaba, who started on the 10th position for all 3 games, if we don't get someone else, he's going to start there. Patrick van Aanholt is our left back, and all others have pretty much changed up. That's what I see. And of course, we have Kerem and Yunus. They will be a starting 11 as well for us, and the rest is just a mystery for now.
What do you think about Yunus, Yasin? You were his, like, biggest advocate
Yeah. And
while he was at Adana.
yeah, and he continues to show me and others why we should be his biggest advocate, right? He came in this season, preseason, already looking very good. Today he had a goal, he had an assist. Last game he had a couple decent almost assists that we just couldn't score. You know, I think he's going to be our most important player this season at this rate. He knows how to make that dribble at the last second to beat defenders, multiple defenders. He knows how to get in between players. And today, while we're watching the game, Samet's like, maybe we should play him at number 10. And the reason why Samet said that was because he was excellent when he came into the midfield. You know, Yunus was playing that winger role where he's making those runs, but he also dribbled inside with his left foot as an inverted winger, and he was finding those through passes, whether it was Gomis, whether it was Omar making an overlapping run, or it was Kerem on the far side. He was always looking for those passes, and that's an excellent trait of a number 10, right? So he can technically play that creative winger role, which is what we desperately need. Kerem last season shined as that pacey winger that knew how to make runs, who knew how to beat a player, who knew how to kind of sneak through the opposing back and find his way behind or next to the striker. But now we have Yunus who can do that and more. So I'm super excited. That goal was beautiful. I loved it. He was on the far side with the inside of his foot. He found the far post, inside netting, just gorgeous from every angle you look at it. He's going to be a very exciting player this season for us. And you know what? Kerem and Yunus are going to look even better once we get a proper number 10. They're going to look even better once we get a proper striker because all these players work together. Once they figure out how to play together, they're going to play better together. And going back to what Samet said, I just want to add on to that, and I agree with him. We're in a testing phase, right? Like without a proper midfield trio, because the midfield is what controls a game, right, guys? Like we talked about this many times. You know, Mazhar talked about it brilliantly a couple weeks ago. He said without the midfield, there's no real skeleton to the team. So right now we're just moving the ball around. The players are getting used to one another, and they're very tired. Okan after the game today said, listen, our players came out today very tired because right now what we're doing is we're working hard to get our conditioning up. So when the season does start, we're not behind. We're ready to go. Our conditioning is good. And at that point, it's just getting our chemistry up and playing the football that we want to play. So to all the fans that are getting anxious on what they just saw today, some of the passing mistakes, my message is stay as optimistic as you can. You know, the transfers will hopefully come, but the passing errors will hopefully go away once we do get more conditioned. That's kind of what I had to say.
So nothing ever ends until we say so.
Fully agree on you, Terim. That's definitely. Maybe before we move on to listener questions, Mr. Terim, what did you think about our friendlies? Like, how do you feel it's going?
Every time we have the control of the games, under the control of the games, during the games, we have some possibility, some big chances, some big occasions, something like that.
Yeah.
Him and John are on the same page, bro.
Yeah.
Yep, always
Control
bro.
the game. Yeah, that's important. Do you have anything to add on that, Mr. Terim?
I don't want to see the back.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see. I want to see the front,
Mm.
and I hope so. Tomorrow, my teams control the games.
Tomorrow, we're not playing tomorrow. It's on Tuesday.
I'm not gonna lie.
See, old age is getting to him.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. I fully agree with him. Emin
Yeah.
Bayram at the back was pretty scary. I don't want to see the back. I don't want to see him near the ball. That was, I mean, okay, he's young, right? So he still has lots and lots of time to learn. Like for a center back, he's like still basically a baby, but man.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing, right? Like John was saying, we want to control the game, but can you control the game with our back line and our
with
current
Emin.
midfield?
No.
Right?
not with
That's
Emin.
probably why Okan's not trying to control the game right until he gets better material players that can control the game better. Maybe we'll see it down the line, hopefully. What were you saying, Yasin?
I'm glad that Salih brought up Emin Bayram. I was very excited coming into the season to see him play, as he had 2 pretty good loan spells at Boluspor. But prior to today, I was not a fan of him. in the friendlies. Of course, it's too early, so I don't want to come
Right.
to a conclusion too quick. But he looked shaky. He looked like when he's under pressure, he's gonna make a bad pass. Today, one thing that I did like about him was he looked a little sturdy in the back. You know, if the ball is coming in, he can clear it. He reminds me a little bit of Ahmet Çelik when he was with us. You know, he was
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. He was not the best creative, controlled center back.
Oh, you mean Ahmet Çalık,
Right.
by the way? I was like Çelik.
Ahmet Çelik. Yeah, my bad. Ahmet Çelik. He can clear the ball. He's gonna be there. He's gonna get the ball out. No bullshit, right? That's the kind of guy that I see
Right.
Emin Bayram as so far. But he's still young. You know, maybe another loan spell will be good for him. Maybe as a bench player, although I don't know quite trust it just yet. But more minutes, more age, more maturity, professionalism. Hopefully, he'll become a better center back. But right now,
Yeah.
maybe a little early from me, but it's a little too early to say anything.
He's still 19. Like, he has loads of time to develop himself. He's still, I mean,
Okan
Yeah.
seems to trust him too. He's constantly playing him. But you know who else he's playing that we haven't really touched on? My man Hamza Akman.
Oof.
The past 3 friendlies, this kid has impressed me. The way he handles the ball, the way he distributes the ball, and the most important thing is he wants the ball. He goes and tries to get the ball every single time, whether it's from Muslera or it's up on the midfield from the wings. And this man just gets the ball and he just goes straight, and he does it so well. It took 2-3 players to foul him to stop him from running with the ball.
Yeah.
That was their first yellow card.
Hamza
And that
Akman.
kid has massive potential. In Nazar Demirson, you know, devil's eye.
Mashallah
You know,
diyelim.
wrap him around with all the devil's eyes
Yep,
that you can,
yep.
man.
The,
I like this kid a
the
lot.
kid is silky smooth when he plays.
Yeah,
he
he-
Would you
glides
play
over
him
the field.
first 11
Not yet.
the
I
Kupa
don't want to give him
games.
too much pressure. Yes,
Kupa games?
he's still 17.
Yeah, no,
I
exactly.
don't
He
want
should
his
be eased in.
confidence to be. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't think he should be starting. He should be eased in like Kerem was eased in before. Start at 70 minutes
Yeah.
and then move on gradually more and more. I think that's the best way for these kids.
But you can see that he has the potential to be
Mhm.
11 material, first 11.
Yeah.
You can see
Oh,
that.
Absolutely.
His little brother Efe Akman is even more talented.
Apparently, but
we have yet to see
hopefully
that
we
one.
see that.
Yeah.
No disrespect, Fatih Hoca, but I hope Okan Hoca plays him a little bit more than you used to play our youngsters. You know, we
Yeah.
used to see Bartu Elmas for like a minute, 5 minutes. Hopefully, we get to see a little bit more of Hamza.
But what can I do sometimes?
Oh man.
Yeah.
And if they're not good, why should he play him?
Yeah. And especially depending.
But anyway, now is in the tabela. We have to see in the situation.
It's very true.
Now is second position and 1 point more.
Yeah, fully agree. It depends also, like if you're like in the league and you have 1 point and you're second, you can't really always play the youth. I think that's what he tried to convey.
Samet, I know before we go to the questions that we got, so just so everyone knows, as of about 40 minutes ago, João Pedro's manager has landed in Istanbul. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks like he's going to Fenerbahce. So,
Well, fuck
Does
him
seem
then.
like that.
I
That's all I
refuse
say.
to believe it. It doesn't make any sense. Why would they do it? Just to show their balls?
Why not? No, why would what? I mean, they have the money, right?
Where do they
don't
get
have
this
as much
money? Where do they get this money?
Kim's
They get
leaving
the
for
shady
19
sales,
million,
bro.
Oh, let's not start on
fans
this one.
SMSing money. No.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Miss
Yeah.
it all. Yeah, okay. Maybe we can do a gala all.
I hope we don't. That's embarrassing.
Yes, definitely.
Every club has done that
Listen,
so far, except us.
Let me ask you guys, if you have an opportunity to weaken your team, your biggest rivals, would you not do it?
This is in extremes, though.
but the thing is that I just don't care really what they do. Like, I don't like. We should just focus on
Yeah,
us.
ourselves.
You know, like I wouldn't.
They think like that. But we don't think but they do.
Oh yeah, of
this
course
isn't
they
this
do.
isn't new. This has been happening for
Yeah,
years.
of course.
And years.
Like everyone knows they're obsessed with us. Obviously, like there's no question to that. It's just I might do that if the price was small, but I'm not gonna go spend 7 million euros just because they want him.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, another transfer rumor we haven't tweeted a lot about it is Seferovic. We haven't talked about from Benfica. I don't see us. Well, I hope not. Doing
I really
that at
don't think
all.
it's true either. Like
Everyone's saying it's done,
That man-
but they've been
Hope
saying
not.
that for a
Well,
that
week.
man's a walk-in hospital.
How about as a
No
second
thanks.
striker, like a not as a
this
first?
is this is the thing with it though. So there's a group that are saying it's done, and he's going to be coming on Monday or Tuesday, and then there's another group saying that the health check that the club did on him was atrocious, and there's no way they're bringing him.
Mhm.
So again, I don't know what the truth is. I have no idea.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Hope it's not true.
all right. Let's close off transfer business right there and move on to listener questions.
A question is a sentence which needs an answer. Ask. A question.
Anyone wants to do the questions?
I can do the questions.
Yeah, go ahead, Emre. You take the questions.
Alrighty. So we got a few listeners asking questions on Twitter. Our first one here is Mr. Kishot. He's asking, how do you feel about the lack of direction our transfer board seems to have? We are linked with players with different profiles for the same positions, which gives the impression that we don't have a planned approach at all.
No, we don't. We don't have a planned approach because the elections were stalled. We have a new management and they're still figuring things out. Okay, they did prepare for the elections, but they didn't know if they were going to win. Both the candidates had Cenk Ergün as their main transfer guy, which was a necessary thing because you need to somehow plan and prepare for it. So Cenk Ergün had a transfer list, but with Okan Buruk coming in, apparently his transfer list changed by 80% with completely different names. And based off Cenk Ergün's interview answers, you can have some insight to what's going on because he's basically saying, I'm not dealing with this. We have segregation of duties. So probably Mr. Yağlı Surat said, okay, Cenk, you do this. Erden, you do that. Ayhan Akman, you do this. And that's where we're going. So somewhat planned approach with some names, which changed a lot. And of course, with the different people dealing with the transfers, some not going well, some going better. That's the situation we are in, I guess.
I mean, I think what Kishot's asking is a little bit similar to my complaint before, right? We're linked with all these different midfielders, and every single midfielder is different than the other in terms of how they play, right? So we had William Carvalho, who is a slower but more skilled midfielder, big, strong guy who, like I said, likes to play slow, but he's that anchor, right? But then we've also been linked with Idris Gueye, so who's not that type of CDM at all. They both play the same role, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're very different type of players in that role. So, you know, we had Joao Pedro, very different than maybe a player like Evander, right? So it's a bit confusing. Are we just trying to get players that are available for the right price that we think will provide value no matter what kind of player they are? Are we going to worry about play style and fit later? Or are we being very specific about what kind of player we want? And to answer that question, you know, as I think through this, we're in a position where all three of our midfielders currently, you know, not counting Sergio because he just came in, we're not very good. None of them should be in our starting lineup this season. So we're just trying to get what we can find and maybe fill out the last one or two pieces when we do get there. Because right now we have nothing except Sergio. It's a good question though, because I don't know the answer to that either. I'm wondering the same thing. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that they're, you know, exactly like he says, I don't think there's any direction at all. Like, I don't know if my ideal three that I mentioned earlier, I don't know if that was the plan and that was the direction and then it all fell apart and they don't know where to go from there. I don't know if that's what's happened. But Yeah, I mean, a little bit of direction, a little bit of vision, an ideal of what you want the team to play like and look like. I think that would be good. And I don't know if that exists. So that's kind of scary to think about, that we could potentially be spending 5 to 10 million on a player like Evander. And is he even an ideal player you want? Or, you know, are you just making transfers just for players and you're hoping they fit in and you're going to work around them? Or I don't know. It's worrying. It's really worrying. And there would be a lot more comfort if we could see some type of clear idea in how we wanted the team to look like, right?
Sergio was on Okan Buruk's list specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I think for
Makes
now,
sense.
because Okan just joined, we have a new board. I think for now we're basically doing more of these bandage transfers, if that makes sense, just some quick
Yeah.
fixes. That's why we probably go for an older profile of players as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally if you want more of these prospects, there's a lot of negotiation going on. It usually can take a few months. Right now, the period is not that long, if that makes sense. It's kind of short if you want better plays. So for now, I think it's just bandage fixes. Where can we improve the quickest, the easiest, with a player that will probably do fine for, well, let's say 2 years at most. I think that's what we're doing right now. Not really a plan in mind, just let's get this team from 13th to at least a European spot. I think that's the idea now.
Right. So moving on, we have a few other questions. This other question from Adam, also on Twitter, he's asking a similar question, but he's asking why do we have such a flawed philosophy in our transfers, and build a team for 2 seasons and then sell everyone to our rivals? And he gives the example of loaning out Jagne to Bruges when they were in our Champions League group. I mean, I guess you guys like already pointed out many of the things, but for this one, an example, maybe we like gave it to Bruges because they were the only people willing to, you know, transfer him on a loan at the time. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I think he's asking, why do we have a flawed philosophy?
Why do we have a flawed philosophy in our transfers and when we build a team?
Mm-hmm.
Because apparently, we'll build a team for 2 seasons and then sell them to our rivals. I can't really recall that many players that we sold to our like direct rivals.
I think
I know about our rivals taking players that we used to have, but yeah, go ahead, Samet.
Yeah, for the Diagne example, I touched upon it a bit. We had the financial fair play. We had some cash that we wanted to use next season as well. So we bought him with the thought process of selling him and making use of that money. Didn't work. So we loaned him out to generate some extra cash that we could use with, well, the loan fee we got from him. So that's for the Diagne example. Aside from that, selling players to our rivals, yeah, it's like you said, Emre, it's them buying our ex-players, not necessarily us.
Right.
Selling them directly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Salih. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to mention on the whole build a team for 2 seasons thing. I think that's just, with our club, it's just, or you could even say it with, if you take it in a broader prospect, like democracy-wise, like because presidents only last a few years, of course they're going to try to think more on the short term. They're not going to build something that's going to last 5 or 6 years because maybe they won't even be in power then. So I think that's the reason why we go for, let's say, these more, not with Burak Elmas, but usually in the past, for more first 11 ready players, which are affordable for us. So usually around 28, 29 or older, and try to build from there and get in championship, because as we saw last year as well, and unfortunately I fall into that category too, if you don't perform, we're not very patient. We want you out pretty quickly, so you have to perform or it's job done. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, no, I what I'm going to say pretty much ties in a little bit to what Salih's saying. And it's like a big problem I've had with past presidents and just the team in general is that we seem to not win the league 1 year and then automatically start transferring for immediate success, which lasts 1 to 2 seasons. And then all the money we spent and paid these players, they leave and we get into that cycle, right? Like we can already see that we're bringing in older players now. Like even if that midfield trio I was talking about, even if we did bring them in, they're not the youngest players. Those are transfers to give us success right now. You know, that those aren't transfers to build a really strong foundation for the future, right? And they're not transfers we're going to be able to flip for profit So I think that's where this flawed philosophy comes from. It just comes from us always feeling like we need to win the league every single year and transferring for immediate success and transferring to make the fans happy because we know the pressure that comes from them. So yeah, this is the nightmare that is Turkey. So
You know, you mentioned that we've never really had a long, like, lasting dynasty of a team that we actually formed together. The one I can think of off the top of my head is the one that Fatih Terim built back in '96 that lasted all throughout 2000, that got him plenty of cups and success. And it's kind of unfortunate that we don't see that as widespread again in Turkey. I mean, it's kind of hard when your fans always are asking for immediate success at all times. So it is tough. It is tough. And you guys have good points. Let's go on to the next question, our final question for the day. So we have Sorare Road to Glory asking, Muslera versus Okan Küçük. He wants us to discuss who
Kocuk.
Küçük.
Glad it's not
Okan
Yasin.
Küçük. He wants us to discuss who we think starts the first game and why, and he also wants us to who do we see play that position long term, either Okan or Muslera. Yasin, why don't you take this one?
So I think the first part question is it depends, right? It's not just a matter of one over the other. What's our situation with the team, right? What's our squad looking like? How many Turkish players can we actually trust at that time in our squad to start the game? If we have, God forbid, a few of the Turkish guys that are supposed to start injured, then of course you're going to start with Okan. But as a captain, as your prime guy, you probably want Muslera to start. If we actually do have plans for Okan to ease in to become that first goalie, I don't think we should just do it with, the snap of a finger, all games Okan. I think you kind of have to ease into it a little bit. Just the way that you kind of saw Altay ease into that first role over Volkan. That's just like a lot of these other teams do it, right? If they have a young goalie that they plan on seeing for the future, but their main goalie is still good, you do 50-50, depending on who's in form, who made a mistake or not. But me personally, I would like to see Okan or one of the other young guys make their way in. If this Yabancı Kuralı, this foreigner rule is not going away, and it doesn't look like it is, then I think we do need to start to ease out Muslera and bring in some new faces in. Because I think the talent's there, we just got to give them the chance.
But
Right.
on that, you said that we should maybe give the other goalies a chance, but we do still have Muslera for 2 years more at the club. So, and he's on high wages, so would it actually be smart then to, put him on the bench and not use him as much? For me, my view is just use your best goalie. In my opinion, that's Muslera. Just use him until he gets injured again or whatever. He's dependable. We've seen what he does. Of course, mistakes happen, but, any goalie can have that. So I think financially it's just not as reasonable, for me at least, to say, let's use another goalie. Unless we can sell Muslera, but I don't think that will happen. He's 35, 36. I always forget his age. He
I
looks
don't
so
look
young.
at his age.
Yeah.
I don't look at his age. If
Fraudulent.
Buffon can play till his 40s, then I think he'll be fine.
Like Buffon.
And
Goalies
Yeah.
can play longer. That's for sure.
exactly.
I think
Yeah.
there's a dividance between Muslera and Okan Küçük between the fans. For me, Muslera, undisputable. He should start the games. Okan Küçük, he can start the Turkish Cup games if you ask me. That's fine. And I say this because, yes, at Giresunspor, Okan Küçük started off very well, but the second half of the season last year, he did have not a great performance, let's say, to justify him starting over Muslera. Muslera's worst day is still a very good Muslera, if you ask me. Sure, he makes a mistake here and there. It happens to all goalkeepers, but his professionalism, his hardworkingness, I'm sure he's gonna keep on doing good stuff.
May I
me
ask
ask
a
you.
question?
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Salih.
Because what Yasin said before is also very interesting, right? We have a foreign quota. So,
Yeah.
in your mind, or you guys in general, would you rather have, I'm going to do an extreme example. Let's say, would you rather have Muslera in goal and forcibly use like an Ömer Bayram on left back? Or would you rather have, for example, PVA on the field, but then use Okan as our second keeper if we need to hit the quota?
Ama çok ipne bir soru sordun şimdi.
Salih, you've actually asked the exact question I was gonna ask.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yes, exact damn question. See, that's what I was gonna say. If I would rather, I've always said this. I'd rather have more. I'd rather have better players in our attacking front, like in midfield, winger, strikers, than our defensive front. Because I feel like midfield and strike, as long as you outscore the other team, you should be fine. But once you concede, like we did plenty of times before in the previous seasons, we just always had a hard time coming back and scoring. Why? Because teams score once, they park the bus, and then they counter. So I'd rather have Okan Koçuk. I swear, Yasin, me and you need to get some phonics books because we always be mispronouncing these names. I'd rather have Okan Koçuk in goalie.
Again,
I don't know.
with that if statement, right? If.
That's if.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know. He might actually do both. Some games he'll have Muslera. Some games he'll have Okan. You never know. He can do both.
I'd rather have Batuhan.
Also that, yeah.
Actually, what have you seen? What have you seen from Batuhan? I mean,
I've seen
one save.
There are good comments, and I'm hopeful too. But I'm just curious, what have you seen?
I've seen enough to say maybe it's better if he plays the Turkish Cup and Muslera and Okan just rotate based on what's needed.
Maybe. Okay.
For the league.
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got Yasin's approval. It's all good.
We could all go home now. End the stream right now.
Yeah.
Actually, on that question, I wonder what John thinks, because John has been, I guess, thinking a lot about it. But
I mean, of course, if I had the choice, like this foreign rule is fucking bullshit. Like, I don't know how else to put it, but
Crooks rule.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. Of course, if I had the choice, it would be Muslera. But I mean, we'll see what the situation is. Like Fatih said, Fatih Terim.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what the occasion, what it is, and go from there. Like I think we're fortunate to have the wingers in Yunus and Kerem that we're expecting to probably start every single game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2 Turks right there. But no, I mean, it depends. If we have enough Turks, of course, always Muslera. If we're in a dire situation and we need to use Okan, then so be it, because I think he's a good keeper as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what can I do sometimes?
Yeah. Aynen. Exactly. I mean, it depends what the situation is, but we should just be thankful that we don't have like Muslera and Ismail Chipe, for example. Like, we have Okan, who we know has a bit of quality. So regardless of what the situation is, I think, more or less we should be taken care of, right?
we have a luxury problem, as you say. Like, we have we have a good keeper, and Okan's a pretty decent keeper. It's like I said before, luckily it's not on Fatih Öztürk or Ismail Chipe or whatever else comes to mind. So
All right.
we're set on that. I don't think that's a problem for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Emre, if we don't have any more questions,
Samet, take it away.
maybe before I do the outro, is there any final notes you would like to say, Mr. Terim, for Galatasaray, for our future? Anything you'd like to say?
So nothing ever ends until we say so.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it's good job, man. Good job. Keep up the English, man. We'll invite you some other time. Hopefully you'll improve. But all good. And for all our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, go to Twitter, follow us at TheLionsDenGS. We're also on Instagram. We'd love to collaborate, communicate. We're doing this for you, done by the community, for the community, right?
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Kerem, you want to say goodbye?
Adios.
It's the football. That's the football. Something happens. Everything is something happens.
I think he meant to say like, share, and subscribe.
I think that's what he tried to say.
Yeah.
Just football
See,
vocabulary.
lost in translation,
Also, if you have questions for our next episode, feel free to tag us on Twitter at TheLionsDenGS.